did find that out. But it seems like I think you're right, because I saw one that said, they rewrote it.
Yeah, it says something about.
46. So you're.
We might have to,
If both things accomplished next year, then having it reviewed, because there's no money in the budget to do that this year, as well as getting it approved.
That's what I found out. I will make sure that when we do the next one, how I said just, I will make sure that gets filled in.
I'm sure you will.
It drives me nuts.
I don't want to do the front.
In the back, right next to the agenda. I got to walk by it, I don't have to sign it. I don't think I have to.
Sorry.
That's all right.
No.
His handwriting's hard to read.
Because I took it off because it was, the meeting
The meeting was too long.
too long anyways, and I thought there was not really a great meeting.
No, thank God we got all the rain from a couple days ago. I haven't real bad.
Yeah.
Bunch of times south of work, I was slammed and sudden.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. I was not in Vermont at the time, but I was wondering if it was sort of following things to see how if we were getting hit.
Hell of a flood on the same day for 3 years in a row. That was the only.
All right, how are you? Good.
Because it did hit some towns harder, not here.
Yeah.
I got enough to water the garden, I didn't have to water the garden. But it wasn't-
Good, how you doing?
It wasn't some others.
I've been trying to go firehouse.
So everyone was on.
I didn't get there.
You know where to find me on.
Here's one lucky day.
Okay. I was connected him anyway. Shower. Oh, goodness.
Before weeks turn to 8 weeks.
I need to talk to the youngster after our meeting because I need some tech information. Like how to get emails off my phone. I only have.
Good. I below, we like ready to.
I will tell you.
But surely there's.
I don't know. So I only have email on my phone. I don't have it on my computer at home.
Right. How's
I
that?
only have it on my, do you have it on your computer at home?
I want to check it online.
Oh, see, I don't, so maybe I can do that.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, all right, as long as I remember what my password is. Okay, so I can go online to Microsoft.
Keepers?
I'm gonna write this down
Oh, wow, I caught.
because I saw the request. I'm like, holy shit, what do I do now?
Outlook.
How long were they? 10, 12 inches? Yeah, 10 to 12 feet. 12 feet?
Just use my
Wow.
Just use your
email
password.
address.
Yeah, it'll take you right to it. It might
Oh,
ask you
Brooks,
for
Brooks.
some-
Then I put it from my computer.
Yeah.
I know how to do that.
Yeah, it might have you do like.
Yeah.
Authentication, like send you a text or whatever, however you had your account set up.
Okay, 'cause
Probably
I've
your
only
phone,
ever-
that's the only place you.
Yeah, that's the only place that it lives right now.
Mostly
Which
6
when I
days.
do a file, like when I write the minutes,
Inches.
it's pain.
Well, they gotta be
because
sick.
I do it on my
I don't
computer.
hear anything.
No, I can't write it on my phone. So I write it on my computer, I send it, my email to the town email, and then I forward it to you guys. So I knew how to get on my computer and log into my thing. I would just move the
I
file
thought you were gonna say trout.
to the email. Can I just email you guys directly instead of having to send it to me and then forward it to you guys?
You know, I just used my work computer when I did the minutes that one morning. I just sat there for about an hour, typed them up, and
I can roll the Google team down real quick. I know.
That was looking.
It would be nice if we could get them to narrow the search though.
Yeah, and I don't know.
No, I don't have any white chocolate.
Yeah,
Was able to find that.
I talked to her early today. She'd been just seeing the business. Yeah, because that's just my crazy.
Should I leave a end seat for Tim in case he's late?
couldn't hurt.
A little less disruptive.
Never.
On the table. There.
I got a question. What do you have for a town hall? Computer, is it a round or is it a USB-C?
Like for this, the charger, I've got.
Well, that's good to know.
No, I just charged for it.
Definitely.
I forgot to bring mine down.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
32%.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do this last.
What's
If not, I'll have a bag.
I don't know. We're gonna get to.
I don't. She had.
Narrow it.
Oh, yeah.
Sure will.
So I don't know how to even go back to that. There's an easy question.
So,
We are at 6 o'clock.
okay, so we're already.
Yeah, we're rolling.
All right, it's 6 o'clock, so I'll call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is modifications to the agenda. Are there any? Does anybody have any? Deb, are the items that you needed to be here for early enough for you to get out of here when you need to?
Yep, should be good, thank you.
Okay, all right, so no modifications, so next item is approval of meeting minutes for June 9th, 2025. Anybody have any revisions?
I can make a motion that we approve those as written.
I would second.
Okay. All those,
Process-wise, this would be the time to amend or edit or anything like that.
okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written for June 9th, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? June 30th?
Move to approve as presented.
Seconded.
Any revisions needed?
I see none.
If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes as written for June 30th, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Is Will able to, you weren't at the meeting, are you able to
Oh, that's
vote on the minutes? Procedurally, I don't think Will votes on approval.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
really
it's,
know.
I think it would be
Just
four,
call-
I think
just
it would
call
be
it
4-0.
Either way, they're getting approved.
Yeah.
Are you the one that seconded the motion now? Do we need a new second?
Oh, I'll
Can you
second
second
the
that?
motion.
Yeah, I wrote them, I didn't wanna make a motion.
Okay, are we all set then? Okay, next up is cemetery deeds.
Yep, we have, 4 lots that are being sold, 3 deeds. I think I sent you 2 of them, the last one I did this morning. 1 at Lower Waterford and 3 at Riverside. I
Okay.
just need permission to sell the lots.
Deb, is that administrative or do you need a official board action.
I need all 5 of you to sign it. It's a land transaction.
Do you need us to make a motion to approve? I make a motion to approve the 4 lots to be sold.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Pass those around.
If not, all those in favor of the sale of the 4 cemetery lots, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Yeah, 3. So one of them must have had 2 lots.
Yes.
Sorry.
That one's done.
Okay. Next up, driveway permits.
Yes, we have 3 of those as well. Callaway Willis had done his 2 years ago, so his expired. So he paid the fee again. Jim has talked to him already. That's been approved. That's on High Ridge Road. Stephen Blakesley for Daniels Farm Road, and Jim and Lisa Warren on Hudson. So on page 2, I just need 1 signature if the select board chooses to approve them.
When, just out of curiosity, when you said the one expired, he applied for a permit, didn't do anything, it expired, so he's just reapplying?
Yes.
I have a technical note on one of those permit requests. Driveway 24 feet wide. Do we have regulations about how wide
No.
we do not? Okay.
And I had a question on the Warren Drive. You'd signed it, Jim. You didn't check off approval. I figured that you just forgot to.
Yeah, I didn't have.
I figured that your signature
Yeah,
indicated.
no, I met with Danny Heath and went over what was expected, just like the rest of them.
Okay. No, I figured you had it, just I figured you. must
Yeah,
have
no,
forgot to
I
check.
signed off on it, I must not have seen that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the permits as we have received them.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving these 3 drive permits, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so you just want
Yeah.
them signed?
And then on the one that is a renewal, just sign underneath the previous administration. Please.
I only need your signature, Ron.
Yeah, well, yeah, you only need 1, I guess. Okay. Oops.
I'm gonna check the approved box for Jim on the Warren one.
It's over here.
Just so that it's complete.
Like, we'll check both or just check?
Yeah, I don't, what, I don't, understand why there's two spots to check.
Okay.
We checked the box for you, Jim.
Good.
Okay. Fuel oil bid opening.
Yes, I sent out, I believe it was 5 emails to area businesses. I would suggest we table it until the end of July, because I only received 2 as of today. The market apparently is fluctuating hourly.
Okay.
So,
And you were concerned that,
one of them was concerned, yes, that I have, but I have only received Dead River and Fred's. We currently have Irving, and I haven't heard back from them. I'm assuming she's on vacation.
okay,
No, you said table until the next meeting, or do you think the end of July
End of
is?
July, if you meet the end of July.
Okay,
yeah, we really decided that, but, I kind of think,
Would you send out an email asking for an update on the 2 that you
Yes,
got in case it
yes.
changes in a couple of
Yes,
weeks?
yes.
That would make sense.
if we decide not to have a meeting end of July, is August too late?
It'll mean they'll have to submit again the day of the meeting. That's usually what happens.
Okay. I'm guessing we may meet again the end of July because
There's a lot.
our agendas have gotten way too long, and I like having one meeting a month, but not that lasts as long as they've been lasting.
I agree.
And we took, I think, 3 items off tonight's that probably should have been done. Okay, how's the board feel? Wanna move to table or?
Yes.
I think it makes sense at this point when you have 2 bids. Deb, do you have any sense of what suppliers are thinking is going to be happening with pricing in the next 6 to 12 months?
I Googled it the other day for my own personal use, and the price is expected to go down.
You say why?
Just economic factors and price per barrel of oil. It seemed that there was a downward trend over the next year.
Yeah.
Which hopefully that will be the case.
I will tell you, I'm not asking for 4,000 gallons this year. I'm only asking for 3,500 because we haven't been meeting that goal in the last 2 years, so.
That's great.
Okay. Hello, so did you make a motion, Sue?
To table it? I didn't, can we just table it?
Yeah, sure. As far as I'm concerned. Okay, next up is zoning administrator update. Matt?
Yeah, so I have 18 permits so far out this year. I believe last year he had 30 total, so we're more than halfway through that. A couple of those have certificates of compliance, but not all of them. So as people complete projects, they do get mailed out their certificate of compliance to fill back and mail back in. That way it closes out the permits, so we don't have a bunch of outstanding permits. When I took over, we had 1,200 unread emails. So I've gotten back to most of those people, and then with the help of Deb, we figured out that the account that the previous zoning administrator was supposed to be using wasn't used. So that's back up and running. So my Gmail account is no longer. Hopefully everybody's emailing the zoning at Watford VT email. It seems like there's still, I was just saying to Deb, a decent bit of interest in people from out of state coming up to build or to buy in the area. We've had a couple of larger businesses looking at Waterford. And when I say large, like 400,000 square foot warehouse large. So if that comes to the table, I'll definitely make the select board aware of it. But there's a couple large industrial warehouses looking at this area to build. And other than that, it's been pretty steady and pretty even keeled.
Okay, so the first part, when you were talking about the email, so your email is working now, we should be emailing you on.
Yeah, so I got it all fixed with Heather. So that the email, I guess Deb had mentioned that everybody switched from Gmail to the new server a little while ago, like 2 or 3 years. So it was never accessed in that 2 to 3 year period. So there was a bunch of emails sitting in there, and then the Gmail that he was using also had 600 unread emails in it. So I had to kind of siphon through everything, and it's all caught up now, which is good. So.
Okay. If somebody needs to get hold of you, well, I get, quicker than that, your cell phone is okay to use?
Yep. I have my work cell phone. It's the 535-5940 number posted. And I try to get back to everybody as soon as possible.
Is there a DRB meeting this month?
We don't have anything quite yet. I know there was someone looking to do a subdivision, but I haven't gotten a permit application yet.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, when you say there are companies looking to build warehouses up here, we don't have an awful lot of industrial zoning, do we?
We don't,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean the company that's eyeballing the area is a large company. And those companies usually come in and they'll have their attorneys come and change bylaws. So if that's the case, if they find a large enough piece of land that suits what they're looking to build, it'll probably be a year before they build, but they will build.
Are you indicating they're looking at potential Waterford sites?
Between Waterford and St. Johnsbury. And St. Johnsbury doesn't have as much open land near the highway as Waterford does.
Okay. A question I have, not related to that, but related to building permits and drive permits. I'm sure you're aware of that we had some property owners that were upset about drilling and blasting on a driveway.
Yep.
When somebody's putting in a permit for a building, would the fact that you're drilling and blasting for the drive, would that be under the driveway permit or the building permit?
I don't think we have anything specific in regards to bylaws or ordinances regarding blasting. It's usually held at the state level, not at the municipal level. So unfortunately, because I did get a voicemail, there's really nothing that we can do. We don't even have a noise ordinance.
Okay.
So unfortunately, you hope that people just use their discretion with that. And the state does regulate it, but they're not the best at enforcing. So it's, I don't want to say it's a free for all, but you hope that your neighbors or whomever it might be kind of use their discretion and don't do it at an inappropriate time.
Because Blake is, they're a Act 250.
Yeah.
So, yeah, on the state level, yeah.
Yeah.
Got a question.
Yep.
I just have a question. I thought by James and Higgins Hill, I thought that was commercial.
A little piece of theirs is, but without disclosing too much, that's not,
That's fine,
yeah.
but to say there's no commercial in town.
No, we do have
There
some.
is commercial.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim, did you?
I did. Your thought that if a corporation is eyeing property and they want to develop it where we or a town don't have zoning or development laws in place, that their attorneys would tend to ram through the changes they need. And that sort of strikes me with fear. I'm not pro or against development, but ought we not be more proactive than having a corporation come to town and tell us what we're gonna do?
I mean, right now, it's not something that's definitive, so I don't want to say that it's definitely going to happen. But Vermont state statutes made it a lot easier for businesses to come into Vermont and bypass municipal bylaws. So there's potential. I mean, the biggest bill they just passed was the Act 200, which made it so if a builder, a housing builder wants to build something, they essentially can. And currently our bylaws are out of compliance with the state statute, so state statute trumps municipal bylaw. So
What isn't what's involved getting bylaws current?
that would be up to the planning commission, properly hand in hand with the development review board. But it's a lengthy process. I mean, we've been going through it in St. Johnsbury for over a year and a half, and we had a private company doing it for us. So we could technically get the Waterford bylaws compliant, but it would just be a very lengthy process.
You were telling me that if a big company comes in and wants to build multifamily housing, state pretty much tells them they can.
Correct. Yeah.
But that's housing specific because we're short on housing, so the state as a policy wants to see housing. But what about large?
It was in
Commercial
the
developments.
same bill. Housing was the main focus of it, but the commercial portion of it was in there as well. So it made it easier for
Wow.
businesses to come to Vermont. They wanted to make it more friendly.
Robin has her hand up.
Sorry, just as a former planning commission member, I'm not sure that the bylaws are out of date because we worked really hard on getting them up to date, I have to say. And I know that the town plan needs to be up to date, and I'm not sure if that's a cross understanding or anything, but I would just say that I think, that sort of thing needs to either have someone from the planning commission speak to definitively before we assume
It's not.
whether or not we have options on what to do. Can I get your name? Roberta Gillett, Gillott.
It's not that the planning commission didn't work hard on doing it.
No, I didn't, I'm just saying, from my understanding, as of like a year and a half ago, we were up to date.
Yeah, well, they passed that bill a couple months ago, so that's what's kind of throwing it. And it's the state, so they pass things constantly. It doesn't mean we're gonna have any action taken against us because we're not up to state statute. But if a builder or whomever comes to town and knows what the state statute is, the state statute trumps what the town bylaw is. So if ours says you can only build one single dwelling unit on a 2-acre property, but right now the state is up to 15 dwelling units per acre, then if someone wants to come in and put 30 dwelling units on a 2-acre piece of property, then they're going to. There's nothing that the town can say about it.
But you said you got the St. J's up to date just
Correct.
within the last couple of months,
We're
since this bill
still,
was passed?
we're still in the process of it. Yeah, so it's ever
It's
changing.
not impossible
No,
to update the bylaws to
No, it's-
continue.
It's ever changing, so unless you're working on it constantly, you're never gonna be 100%
Yeah, right, yeah,
compliant.
it's a terrible
Yeah.
commission to do.
Yeah, it's tough. So it's just, you just have to know both of them, so if somebody does come in, you don't get into
Yeah.
crosshairs of a lawsuit.
Okay, all right. I don't think so.
Clem, do you have a hand raised or are you just resting?
No, I.
Oh, okay. Good.
Okay. Anything else on the zoning?
My only one final thought is, you say there's no noise ordinance in town. I'm not sure if that's something, because I asked you, Deb, about whether we had one a little while ago, and you said no. I wonder if that's something we should consider, particularly in regards to blasting. And in other towns, to your knowledge, Matt, do they have separate blasting and noise ordinances, or does it all just kind of fall under the noise ordinance usually?
Blasting is not usually something they single out. The noise ordinance is usually like music, animals, things like that are a little bit more common. I guess you could incorporate it if you want to go down that route. But if it's something that doesn't occur super often, then usually that's not written into the bylaws. So it would be up to, I believe, the planning commission to create that and then the select board to vote on it.
And Will, to go back to on ordinance or not, Sue and I, a couple years ago, had made a list of all the ordinances that should be revisited because they hadn't been in quite some time. If you like, I can try to find that list again.
Okay, but you told me there's never been a noise.
There wasn't
There
a
wasn't,
noise
okay.
ordinance. I looked it up for when we were talking about ATVs and we didn't have one.
Okay,
That's all.
all right. Is there anything else on that? Next up is local emergency management plan. And
Roger LaRue. Over here. I got like 4 items I'd like to touch base with you guys on. I've been working with Deb, trying to get up to speed on our current, local emergency management plan and our hazard mitigation plan. We found out, and I found out that, in order to sign off on the, local emergency management plan, which we recently did, you're supposed to have, either ICS 100 or ICS 402, which is really kind of a formality, and they're not gonna slap our hands if we don't do that. The state hasn't really put a lot of teeth into it. But we do have a class coming up in the area very shortly, and I implore you all to take the time to take this class. It's a 3-hour class. It will give you an understanding of the incident command system that the fire department has been using for 20+ years. And last summer, for example, it might have made sense to activate the town emergency action committee, or the EOC rather. However, nobody's really had an understanding of incident command, and it could have gotten quite confusing because incident command is based on an organizational chart with multiple jobs within it. And the Selectboard, and that would be probably over on the finance section and /admin. The operation, if there's life or property in danger, is typically the fire chief or his appointed person if he's not in the area. That's how I ended up getting that lucky thing last year. But so they're responsible for the incident and management. But we also like to do unified command, which is something that you learn about a little bit. That would include working with the town crew, working with Jim, so that it's a coordinated effort to manage an incident if it's a flood, where we would need the municipality portion of it as well as fire. So, and like I say, the beauty of that is you would understand the language that the fire department, it's used across this country. It started back in the 60s in California and worked its way across the whole country and came back. So that class is on August 12th, from 9 to 1 o'clock in St. Jay. So it's a 3-hour commitment. Deb can get us all signed up. I've had several other classes. I will probably take that just so I know to what level you guys are at if you take it. But, if it's possible for you to squeeze that in, that would be great. So the other aspect of that is, if we did open up the Emergency Operations Center for the town, we probably want the treasurer, the town clerk, and maybe a select person to be there in order to manage all that. And there's also a public information officer that's part of that organization chart. And that, in my mind, could very well be Deb if she took the training. There is some online training that she could take to give her a basic understanding of PIO position. I know we reached out through Facebook and other media last year to update the roads, but if we had been all together, some of that could have been happening real time. And I think it would have made 2 things: the treasurer's task much easier to recreate and to do the FEMA grant request. I think it would have been a lot easier had they been involved in it from the beginning. And the public information officer would have been able to get the information out better. There are so many other mediums that, particularly our younger individuals in town, don't look at Facebook. They think it's all grandparents that look at that. They're probably right. So we need to outreach to these people as well. The other thing I'd like to mention is during last year, I found out the radio at the fire station is not on the generator. I've looked at it with Adam Armberg, and I would like to get your permission. I think he's signed up with the town and has insurance and so forth, to reconfigure some of our electrical. Since we've changed all LED lights, there's no problems. There's plenty of circuits left in the throw over box, the transfer box from the generator, to allow that to happen. So that's one of the things I need for you guys to give us permission to do. Secondly, once that is done, I'd like either a subcommittee or the town, someone to review our existing emergency operations center space, which is currently, according to our LEMP, which is a local emergency management plan, states that it's the town clerk's office. Well, I see some issues there. You know, there's very few facilities, there's nothing there for long-term event where, you know, it might be a 24-hour gig or longer. They just don't have the facilities in this building to accommodate a long event.
Nor do I have a generator.
And you don't have a generator, which is interesting, which is something that could very well impact the ability to do things downstairs. So I think we should consider moving that operation to the fire department. The officers have had a discussion there and we can manage that well. We have 2 bathrooms, showers, kitchen facilities, everything you would need, as well as a backup generator. So that's something that we should consider after the wiring change has been done. The next thing I had to flag is that, and I apologize, I'm just trying to get caught up on everything that we currently have. Since we no longer technically own the Waterford School, and it is a part of the Caledonia Cooperative School District, I think we should, the select board should consider creating a memorandum of understanding so that we can use that building, as well as the Union Baptist School, for example. We don't have anything in writing for them either. And we have them both, those facilities, both listed as emergency shelters. So we really should get something in writing and have a memorandum of understanding so that we don't knock on the door hoping to bring residents to there and someone pitch a fit and not allow us to do so. The other thing I've noted is that the hazard mitigation plan that's on our website was last adopted in '22. And it's due to be renewed and reviewed. In order to apply for federal grants such as the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, which is the money we're still waiting on from last year's event, in order to apply for that, your hazard mitigation plan has to be reviewed every 5 years, otherwise FEMA figures you're out of compliance. Whether they would hold our feet to the fire on that, I'm not gonna put my reputation on that one and say one way or the other, but that is something that needs to be done. And obviously, the way it was done last time, it was an outside agency that the town hired to review it and make recommendations on that plan. And then it was signed off. Now, Deb said that that individual no longer is doing that. And actually, I may have the dates wrong. She told me here just before we got started, but it's going to be due in '26. So you'll have to plan on, and maybe, I don't know if you need to do RFPs to figure out how much it would cost to have it reviewed, but it has to be reviewed and then the select board and the town have to adopt it in order for it to be compliant. So 26, 27 at the latest, but I think 26, we'd have to double check our dates, but I think that's when it's actually due. I have no idea what it costs to renew it. Maybe it's in the archives someplace of what we paid last time. But that individual is no longer doing it. So I do know one contact that mentions they do that, the business that they do. And that was a gentleman who was on the Littleton Fire Department, but that's the only person I know and I have no idea.
Who is this individual?
I don't know the company that he works for, but it's Jim Richardson.
What manner of agencies do this kind of work? Like, is there kind of an umbrella term for them, or is it just like a general consulting firm?
It's usually just emergency management or emergency preparedness groups that do that kind of stuff. And they help write them and review them. So if I could get you more information, I just haven't done the legwork on that yet.
So it may be due for 27, but Could it be 26?
I believe, did you
I
just?
think it's
I think it's
26,
26.
because I'm pretty confident in saying it was 2016. So if it was 16, it'd be 21, 26.
Did we get an extension in, the 21 period
Yeah.
cycle because of?
I'm not really sure what happened there. It's just really confusing because there's no date on the document. So, I know when I sent the acknowledgement to the state, it was 23 for one time that I did it, but we can reach out to that woman as well and see.
What's the expected time to complete that review process?
I'm not sure, I think last time I wasn't involved, I think there was a committee put together that worked with the individual, but I don't know. I can reach out to the previous emergency management director of Bill Vinton and see if he can enlighten me as to how that process went last time. If he has any knowledge of it, I don't know. I'm willing to reach out to him and find out.
Have any sense whether we have to do any major rewrites, or is it kind of just a review and maybe some word changes here and there?
I think it's kind of a review. I think we need to focus on flood mitigation. Quite honestly, given the last 2 years of history, almost 3, and it's not over yet. This year's not over. Not to do gloom and doom here, but, so I think that's probably the only real changes that we've had in town that I think would manage there's almost no end to this kind of stuff. We had a company reach out to us about, what do you do with pets? What do you do with the elderly? The pets are a concern. Where do you stop? Is it dogs? Or is it horses and cats?
Is it cows?
Cows, llamas, who knows? I don't know what to do with these things yet.
And just a quick follow-up on some of the other items. You had a fairly lengthy list of tasks that need accomplished. What's the timing of those other matters?
Well, I think a lot of them are low-hanging fruit, really. I think, it's not a lot of work to decide whether or not you should move your EOC, and we just update the states, our local emergency management plan, and update the state for that. That's pretty low-hanging. I think the memorandum of understandings, really should be addressed sooner than later. I don't think we have any issues, but certainly would feel more comfortable if we had written permission to use these facilities.
Do you know any towns that have developed MOUs with the schools that now
Templates,
belong to the state? Because I could go in and just copy one of those.
Sure. I will get that info. I'm sure there's someone, I'm sure Chad, I know Chad, I can also reach out to him and talk to him as well.
Because that does sound like low hanging fruit, and we
Yeah.
should probably do it sooner than later.
Agreed. Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that.
On the topic of low-hanging fruit, it seems like we could approve the transfer of the radio at the fire station to the generator. What, does that entail simply like plugging something into a different socket, or do we actually have to hire someone to do?
Well, Adam Armberg is on the department. He's done electrical work and has a certificate of insurance in the town. He's done stuff for us. I believe he's on file for that.
We'll just need an updated one, that's all.
So,
If he's insured, he's licensed, and
yes. And to answer your question, it really is there's the main, circuit breaker box, and then there's the transfer box. So the circuits that are fed by the generator are over here. So the wire needs to be removed from this box, extended, and go onto that box. And a couple of those need to be moved to double up the lighting, for example, because it's all LED lighting now versus the fluorescent lights. So there's no power issues on, moving them all onto the same circuit breaker.
Okay. And you said Adam would be the one to do this?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I say, obviously the discussion continues after this motion, but I'll make a motion to approve,
The only thing I'm just gonna say is, I would check with the treasurer's office to figure out where this expense is going to come from, because it's not something that was budgeted.
okay.
So we just,
The expense for,
to do Adam's work,
he won't charge.
he won't charge, okay,
There'll
perfect.
be no fee. I mean.
Minor supplies?
2 feet of. We probably have the supplies at the firehouse. quite honestly, to an extent.
Well, in that case, I'll make a motion to allow Adam Ehrenberg to switch the radio over to the main generator at the fire station.
I would second that.
A quick question then following, when we're talking about switching the radio to the generator, does that mean the generator circuit?
Yeah, so there's a transfer box from the generator.
Gotcha,
Feeding
yeah.
multiple circuits in the
Yeah.
building. And there was an oversight apparently, I would think, when they actually updated that transfer box in the 10 years that I was gone. So the circuit where the radio is plugged into is in the meeting room, and the meeting room right now is not on that generator, the outlets.
Gotcha, yeah.
So, that would also give us the ability, should we have an event and we open up a joint emergency operations center, it would give us the ability to plug in, computers and whatever, if you have laptops that you bring to do work and those kinds of things. So, it would just facilitate, having it be a whole operations center. Would you like my list, my copy?
That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great. I'm trying to.
I know, I threw a lot of stuff at you, I'm sorry.
No, all good. Just trying to catch up. Appreciate it.
Ron, does the air conditioner work in here?
It's on,
It's,
set at 60.
I hear it.
Yeah, it's, blowing.
There are a lot of people in here.
okay, we have a motion to approve, Adam Ehrenberg to do this work on the, looking at the radio to the generator. All those any more discussion on it? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Anything else you need us to do tonight? Okay, well, thank you for,
Roger, is it possible for us to move from the town clerk's office to the fire department as the emergency center? Is that something that we're allowed to do?
Oh, absolutely.
And then change the paperwork to reflect that, of course,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
is that something we can do this evening? And should we?
I don't see why not. I think we should if we can.
I
I don't
think-
see why we can't.
I think we should too. I would make the motion that we move the emergency center from the town clerk's office to the fire department.
I'll second that motion.
okay, any more discussion on it? Okay, all those in favor of moving from the town clerk's office to the fire department as the command center, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
So it'll probably mean you have to sign a new paper.
What's that?
It'll probably mean you have to sign a new paper. Roger and I will get it updated and
We can do that.
you'll have to.
And were those, when we approved it, a meeting or two ago, we mentioned putting additional contractors on there.
I did. Those got
Those got on
in there before you signed. Yep.
Okay,
if at all possible, I know you've got a lot on the agenda, but if at all possible, before we update that, if we could, see if we can get the MOUs.
okay,
Because that is also on that document, so then it would at least.
Change it just the one time.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Now, an MOU requires us to send something to both CCSU and,
Yes,
Union Baptist, and they would review and sign and get back to us.
I would think so. And Sue, I will do some legwork shortly and see if I can get that info.
And I volunteer to
Yeah.
copy whatever is out there.
I'm sure.
Try to
I'm sure
do it
there's-
again.
I'm sure there's plenty of them out there.
There's gotta be.
And it may mean that either a school board member comes here or we go to them to have a conversation.
I feel like it would just be easier to go to them personally, but again, I'm not.
Might be quick.
Get a document together and present it to whoever we need to present it to.
all right. So we, all done with the local emergency management plan business?
Thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome. That's what you, wanted me for.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say pay you for it.
That'd be nice.
Well, I appreciate that you and the fire department are minding the store.
Okay. Next up is I believe our county sheriff, new county sheriff is with us this evening, and I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Brendan,
Well, that's not a good start.
So that must mean you haven't stopped yet.
Well, so this is the first stop of many I'm gonna be making to the select boards around the county. I more or less just want to be able to come here initially as a meet and greet. Some of you I'm familiar with, and I agree it's very hot in here. And just to give you a little bit of an update, so everyone kind of has an idea of what's been going on. It's no secret, first 6 months of this year have not been easy. The passing of Sheriff Heeman really kind of flip-flopped everything for us and then put it into a standstill for quite some time. So we've been playing catch-up ever since the appointment happened. To give you kind of an idea of what's occurred since I got appointed, I've hired 2 full-time deputies. One of them's in training, one of them is a full-time patrol. That's what they do. They are out 4 days a week, 10 hours a day right now, patrolling around the county. I took a part-timer and put them into a full-time position. So that's a turnaround of 3 people, and it's been less or just over 2 months. I have 2 part-timers slated to go in September to the academy. So they're gonna be on a part-time basis, just where as needed is where they're gonna go. We have lost a couple of people. Patrols took a real hit after Sheriff Heeman's passing, because 2 days after the funeral services, one of our full-time patrol folks decided they did not want to work here anymore. So they went elsewhere. So that really took a hit to the patrol side. We've now supplemented that with another full-time patrol person. The other 2, again, they're gonna be on a part-time basis. One of them is already a dispatcher that some of you probably know, Mark Harpin. He is a part-time dispatcher and also decided he wanted to be a part-time deputy. So he's one of the ones going. So he'll actually be doing full-time hours with us once he gets all the training. Honestly, the biggest issue that has put us behind is the training part. I've had applicants. I've had one that I hired and then let go fairly quick for reasons outside of our department. It was from other employment he had. And I had to let go of one of our full-timers due to just some discrepancies that came about. We're still on the plus side of that. We have 10 deputies between full-time and part-time. Soon it'll be, after September, some training, we'll be at 12. I'm pushing really hard to try to get one more full-time patrol person. If I succeed at getting that, we will have a deputy more or less that will be able to be covering the north and one in the south, operating in different towns. A big thing for me, I didn't show up with like numbers and stats and contracts or any of that stuff. This was simply I'm Brandon Thropill, for those that may have seen pictures, or those that don't know my name. And to give you just that understanding that, I've been with the Sheriff's Department for 4 years. I was one of the state transport deputies with Sheriff Heeman when he was the captain. We worked together for 2 years. He became sheriff, and I ultimately became his captain. So I've been with the Sheriff's Department for a while. Before that, I worked for Lindenville PD for over 9 years. So it has been a learning curve. I'm not gonna lie about that. Yes, I know the operations. I know what we do. I know what we can do. The behind the scenes part of hiring, acquiring, retaining, that was been a learning curve, and it's worked out well so far. I have a couple other applicants that are potential to come on board. But throughout my introductions to all the select boards, I wouldn't be looking for an answer tonight. What I would be hoping is that when I come back, that we could discuss what it is each town wants. What is it fully that you want out of us? And from there, then I can go back to the drawing board and figure out what it is exactly we can supply. We're on an upward climb as far as employment. I know it's been an issue in the past. It's always been the same conversation. We just don't have the bodies. We don't have the people. Nobody wants to do law enforcement. I'm having a hard time paying these guys. I'm having a hard time with this. We're actually kind of in a good spot right now. The goal is to be in a better spot come this fall into next year. And I'm highly motivated. I know that last year, again, I don't have numbers exact for every town. I do know that patrols in a lot of towns didn't get fulfilled. And I believe we had to give back quite a bit of money for what didn't get filled. I'm a motivator to where I don't want that to happen. So I'm pushing every single day in the office to try to build a culture with our department that Sheriff Heeman started, I was a part of, and now I get to add on to it.
Tough shoe to fill.
It is. I luckily got to work side by side with him for almost 4 years though, so I know how he operated, I know the type of person he was. He has a great family. I try to stay in contact with Jen periodically just to see how things are going. And I mean, I know it's outside of this town, but it's a town that involves the county. This is gonna be the first year in I don't know how many years. I know more since I've been there, it hasn't occurred. We're gonna be the only county fulfilling the county fair. We've always had to take supplements from, whether it be Essex, Lamoille, Orleans might have been there at one point. This is gonna be the first time in at least 4 years, 5 years, that it's gonna be only us. So a lot of positivity has happened over the last couple of months. And we're really working hard to continue that. So again, and I appreciate those of you that are aware of me, your support that you have or have not done. We really try to be active on our department Facebook page. Big part of that was again, a small goal I wanted to do right out the gate is I want you all to know who we are. That's why we're introducing this deputy, even though they've been there for 4 or 5 years, 6 years. I'm going to assume the majority of folks in the county don't know. If you saw them in a store, you don't know who they are. I want to change that. I want there to be more of that personal, I guess, touch to it, that when you see the deputy or you go up to their car or they walk into the town offices, that you have at least an idea of who that deputy is. So that's one of the goals and missions as well. I have about 10,000 of them, but I would take your whole night to try to explain them. But
You tell them not to walk up to our
Would we be able to invite you back this fall when we're putting the budget together? Because last year you were unable to fulfill how much we wanted to buy, and so we reduced it this year. But if you were to attend one of our budget meetings where we talk about that, see if the possibility to raise it back again.
absolutely, like we have had multiple towns reaching out, wanting more time. And we're on that upward climb of let's get it done. Let's make this happen. Let's get where we need to go. Like I mentioned, my biggest thing that will help me is a clear and concise description of what exactly you want. The reason I ask that is because some towns look, we only want patrol. That's it. We don't want to see your faces. We don't want you coming to our house to, respond to this call or do this. We don't want you arresting this person. It's more for your agency.
911, we can't go there.
We want to have that clear cut explanation as to what it is you wanna see out of us, then I can come back with, maybe we can fill that, maybe we can meet in the middle, maybe we can create something. But yes, I don't want that to happen again. I want to come into the year, we sit down and this was a fantastic year. Everything went smooth, this is what we like, and hopefully we can just build and build. I really don't want to plateau. I want to keep going with everything that's already began. Again, we had a rough 6 months, but this next 6 months is gonna show us a lot more with our department.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Yep. Yes, thank you. Okay. And if you don't, the next item on our agenda might also, if you be willing to stick around a few more minutes for that might be appreciated, because there may be some questions of you when we discuss this subject.
I'll do my best.
Okay. All right. Slate Ledge Road. Last meeting, a special meeting that we had, we discussed some of the issues on Slate Ledge Road, and we heard from some of the residents or property owners on Slate Ledge Road about what the problems were and what they felt the solutions were. Will has done some research on, there was some talk of possibly closing Slate Ledge Road, or the term either blocking it off, gating it.
Discontinuance is the technical term there, which is where the town basically says, hey, we don't want this road anymore. We're gonna give it back to all the adjoining landowners. And there's a very long document that I found interesting, but it was all the case law of like weird things that happen with discontinuances. That would be much more than a one meeting discussion. I don't think that's necessary to discuss yet. That's a pretty severe action. But I went out there this morning, hadn't had a chance to walk it. Went out and walked up, saw the little trash pit there on the left. And then kept going up, because I'm not sure if he's here tonight, but Mr. Smith had a concern about accessing a piece of his land up there that I guess he primarily accesses through that point.
He's in his Select-Board meeting in St. Johnsbury because he's on the board, so that's why he's not here.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure when they met at all. But
So you walked the whole road?
So I walked up to like the crest of the hill, so I started at 18.
At the old Cheever's place, that opening where the field is?
No, I did not see a field, so I guess I didn't
Okay.
get that.
Did you walk up there with a washout where you could lose your truck?
Okay, so that must be where
That's
the
on the
washout
other
is.
end.
That's where?
That's on the other end.
Okay, so that's on the end
That's
off
off
of
Daniel's
Daniel's
Farm
Farm.
Road.
Okay.
You could hide a truck in there.
Interesting. Okay.
You didn't see that.
No, I didn't get up to the Daniel's Farm
You
end.
know why that's there?
Is it from last summer's flooding?
Yeah, it's been deteriorating for 20 years. And the reason for that is because Lyle took all the culverts out and just put water bars in. And that's
So-
why that road's all washed out.
So the
There's over
previous.
5 feet of material missing in that road.
Mhm.
Back in the day, Yvonne Jagger used to run the grader up there once every year. And the road was fine. Now, when I logged down in the Howard Tewksbury's, which borders the town of St. Johnsbury, I worked 3 weeks to fix that road so I could get a tractor trailer down in there. I didn't get nothing from the town. Well, you think the town could run a grader down through there or put a water barrier in? I'm done. But I still have wood to cut down there and I can't get to it.
No, this is on the class 4 section is where
Yeah.
this, a lot of yours is,
Yeah.
and this is where the washout is?
Yep. Obviously, you didn't see that.
No, I did not.
Well, if you want a tour, I'll give you a tour on my four-wheeler. Because I barely get by it with my four-wheeler. But I cut down on the traffic, which I don't mind. Because we don't have kids down there burning, having a party and all that shit. I'm all for that. The only thing I want is access to this property at Howard Tewksbury's in down to St. Johnsbury's.
Okay.
Okay.
What's gonna how much trash was down there when you went the other day?
So, well, this morning, there were a bunch of Domino's boxes. Ron, you went out there a couple days ago
You
and
ain't,
sent a
you ain't
photo.
seen nothing. You didn't check out the old foundation in here. It's got couches and chairs in it. Right when you pull in, right where the signs are for the snowmobile trail,
Mhm.
to your left, there's an old foundation right there. That was the old Chiva's place. And that is chock-a-block full of garbage.
Okay, so you're saying where Slate Ledge, as you're coming from Route 18, intersects the snowmobile trail, if you go left there and you
Yeah.
keep going in
It's
there,
right
there's,
there on your left. It's right there. I mean, you
it's
guys,
there, because there's another one.
you know,
further up.
you guys have probably drove out
Oh
there
my
and
God.
looked here and there, but you ain't got out.
Okay.
Look, if you wanna know what's going on, I can show you.
No, I
And I'd
walked
love
out.
to show you what's going on.
The other thing is, if people keep dumping trash there, what's gonna happen if the leachate from that trash goes into the St. Johnsbury water supply?
Exactly.
That's gonna be a trickle effect.
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't want the town to be liable for it or anything because.
I just want access to these properties.
So, yeah, some people, and I'm sure the property owners want access to it.
Howard Dewsbury told me to go to the meeting and stick up for it. There's access to his property.
Okay, but I've heard that you want that, but then I've also heard you want it
St.
gated and, or somehow closed off, so,
I don't care, as long as I got access
okay.
and that washout is fixed. I can't even get my skidder through there.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of work that needs to be done on roads
I'm not
due to
pounding
the
my head
flood.
on the wall, and I don't want you guys to.
What's that?
I know, I'm not pounding my head on the wall, and I don't want you guys to, because I know what you've been up against with the flood and everything last year. But I just want to have it accessible for logging purposes.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments?
Does the town get any money at all for class 4 roads? No?
They do. The town of Waterford gets they're supposed to maintain all the culverts. And maintain the water qualities on these roads, and it's federally funded through the state. That's a fact.
Well, you want access, if they put up a gate, they could give you a key and you have access,
I'm fine,
and you'd be fine with that, but
I'm fine,
it
The
was,
landowners.
it
but I'm all
was,
done fixing the road.
but it would stop
Just
the,
asking
hopefully
you
the
to.
partying, the dumping of trash.
Since I logged back
Yeah,
there,
could. Marcia, you were,
I said it
I'm
would,
sorry,
it would stop the trash, people don't even dare to go down through there anymore. And, of course,
they
they
can't
had,
get through there.
they had the fire, right, Colin, you went down and checked that out?
Yeah, there was a,
Mattresses were set on fire.
there was a
Fire
fire.
and caught the woods on fire, good thing it rained for 3 days,
I mean, we don't stand a
because the
chance.
fire department couldn't get their truck in there. Am I right, Fuji?
No, we took our forestry truck down there. We wouldn't take an engine down there, but the forestry truck was able to go down there.
Yeah, forestry truck. Yeah, not a fire truck.
Chief, when you access that fire, were you accessing it from Daniel's Farm or from Route 18?
They come off Route 18.
Route 18.
Just, the forestry truck is a fire truck. It carries 300 gallons
But
of
you
water.
never would have got down the other way.
okay.
And it's a hazard. The
Well-
road needs to be updated a little bit for fire purposes.
Okay,
Put a gate up, give the fire department a key or a combination or whatever. I don't care.
Well,
I'd like to keep the riprap out of there, and people go out there doing dope and all that shit, and they're taking rocks and on my own log landing and building a fire pit and camping out there.
okay, yeah, and, yep, what were you, did you have
No,
something
just
to?
thinking we need to have a little bit better process control here.
Yeah, everybody's entitled to talk, but this isn't gonna be a debate all night. This is a select board meeting and not a town meeting. So appreciate your input, but, I don't know, this select board members, any thoughts on?
Jim, if you don't mind me asking you some questions related to class 4 roads. I know on the class 4 end of Lawrence Road where I live, you've done some culvert work. When it comes to severe washouts, has the town highway department in the past done any maintenance of that kind on class 4 roads?
The only thing that town of Waterford doesn't have a uniform policy on class 4s. Some class 4s grade once a year, some class 4s we plow in the winter time, other ones we don't plow, we don't grade. Lodge at Farm Road, we refer to that as Snake Alley, that went out. By state standards, the only thing that we are required to do is to maintain culverts.
Okay.
And it has also been said, or I would say, I've heard that some state people have said if you don't want to maintain the culverts, you rip them out. Then you don't maintain them. But like I said, you've got Campbell Road, that there's a culvert there, but the road washed out. We didn't fix that. We're not fixing that. We haven't yet. We've got Snake Alley, Lodge from Farm Road, down through there, got washed out, haven't fixed that. I mean, it's up to the discretion of the select board, what you want to do. Because we don't have a uniform policy on class 4 roads.
Right, I got a question. Yep, Jim, how do you know what treatment to give which class 4 roads when you're going about your work?
Just from what it was when I was an employee here.
Were you employed, were you on the town road crew when the culverts supposedly got taken out of Slate Ledge Road?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't remember that taking place.
I do.
The only thing that we've done is, Mr. Smith's come in, beavers and dam that up and stuff, and we fixed it a few times going over where the beavers dam, but then they flood it right back in again.
I actually startled one when I went down there and I did see all those beaver dams on the left as you're
Yeah.
walking up.
Yeah, so
I know what you're referring to.
other than that, I really haven't had a whole lot to do with it. We went in there and we broke out some of the beaver dams that were right in that first culvert in that sag.
Okay.
But you've got a low road, and then you go up to the top of the culvert, and then you go down the other side. So I mean, if you get any backup at all, it just flows over the road. But other than that, we really haven't done a whole lot out there in my time here.
Okay, Marcia?
And by the way, last week or the week before, someone came through Mr. Smith's land and chopped down branches off trees and everything to make a trail to go out around it.
Yeah, he sent me pictures of it.
You sent you pictures, okay.
That washed out?
That's what you can use it in.
So, Mr. Chair, I wonder if the board should be addressing the class 4 roads policy and having some consistent vision and consistent statement separate from the immediate question here before the board.
I would concur with that, only because I'm looking at the road policy right now and it's quite literally 2 paragraphs. The class 4 roads, the town has to maintain culverts and bridges of class 4 roads so that they're safe or remove them. That's all that it says. If anyone builds on a class 4 road, they must maintain the road. Now, these 2 statements in my mind already seem to kind of contradict themselves. If the road is upgraded, it will be at the landowner's expense and may not be reclassified or maintained by the town. So before a road will be considered to be reclassified, it must be built up to class 3 standards by the landowner, and it should produce enough town tax to pay for maintenance and upkeep. This policy was approved in January of 2000, was last updated. Unclear what the exact updates were. March of 2011. It says reviewed and approved. So I'm not sure if any changes were made to that.
Well, see, in 2011, we ended up adopting the state standards
Okay.
after the flooding event that took place then. So we adopted the state standards and we go by what they say. And so they have a classification on class 4s, class 3s, class 2s, and we abide by what they say.
Okay.
Is that officially part of, Town of Waterford road maintenance policy? The adoption of the state?
Yes, we adopted it in 2011.
No.
But the town plan has not been updated on that. And that's why we have had discussions in the past about updating our town plan and incorporating some of these policies into it, but it's never taken place. So we.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, because
Yeah.
it's proximate to the door, would anyone object if I open the door just to let some air in here?
I don't.
No.
Well, and just so you know, Will, when you said that policy in 2000, I think you said,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just, well, in 2000 you said, and I can tell you why the 2000. Because my husband and I built a house further down the road, and we had to bring the road up, the class 4 part of it, to specs for the town. The Selectboard approved it. We put the cul-de-sac in, and we built up the road up to, where Sullivan's is, because that's where the class 4 begins. So we brought it up to specification, so the town plows down to the cul-de-sac and back up. But just so if you look into it, you'll see there, part of that is class 4, which the town does maintain, and that's why.
Okay, but that part by your house is still class 4. It was never reclassified as class 3.
No, I don't know.
It's still class 4.
Is this?
They upgraded it to class 3.
Yeah,
Oh, they did. Okay.
it's upgraded to class 3 to that point.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that did happen, to make it so that the town maintained it.
Okay.
Okay.
So at our last meeting, there was, I think some of the people who own property there were asking if we could put up a gate on the Route 18 side and provide keys to Mr. Smith, Mr. Tewksbury, the town of St. Johnsbury. And we have the county sheriff and the fire department chief here tonight, and wanted to ask them their thoughts and what they think about putting up a gate and closing a road, a temporary closure, because there was discussion that they wanted it open for Vast Trail in the winter when it snows. But if we were to close it for the next, say, 4 or 5 months on a temporary basis, I know the fire department has thoughts on gates blocking roads. Can you share with us?
I see the benefit to the homeowners of blocking it.
Okay.
From an emergency services standpoint, will it delay response? Potentially. If there's a medical call out there, you're now involving other resources. If we are on a call and there's a mutual aid call out there, other departments having access, those types of things to consider. I guess my thought is a gate really going to keep people from going out there?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to walk by it, they're going to bring their food out, whatever they're going to do, they're just potentially not going to drive. I don't know. So I see both sides of it.
What about just the safety aspect from a fire prevention, suppression perspective?
Yeah. Probably the biggest thing historically with the fire department standards there is not to throw the road up. Sorry, your term was.
I think discontinuous is the technical term.
Only because it does allow, should forest fires, it gets the fire department access to those remote areas.
Many years ago, we had the Fairbanks Mountain Fire, and Roger was commander there for several days. He's got firsthand experience of what can happen. And anything can happen at any time. Do I think a gate is going to stop everything? No. Will it stop vehicle traffic out there? Sure. That gate's gonna have to be wide enough to make sure that we can get fire trucks through it as well. So those types of things that you should consider.
But also, if we hadn't had rain for 3 days, who knows what kind of predicament we would have been in.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
I mean, it's crazy out there.
You know,
Could've been a lot worse.
I think, yeah,
And you would want a key if we were to put up a temporary gate. The
oh,
fire
absolutely.
department would-
It's fire, EMS, I mean, Calix, St. J Fire, Concord Fire.
I would have to think we'd have to give it to more than
It's
just
gonna
a.
be, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be.
So our mutual aid partners,
Absolutely.
Key control is something to consider.
Yes.
key control.
I mean, all of a sudden you've got 15 copies of keys floating around. Who has access to them? What happens to them when they're out of your site?
All of a sudden, somebody's out there and somebody stole mom or dad's key, or somebody's,
Or made a copy of it.
Correct, yeah.
Well, sometimes they have those combination locks too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, so that you don't need a key. You just,
Yeah.
as long as you have a combination.
That's even a worse problem though, because all you have to do is pass on a code.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Exactly, either way.
Yeah.
And what might the
There's no
county,
good, there's no good.
and what might the county sheriff be able to do for us from a standpoint of deterring hardy goers from using and trashing that area? Is there anything, you must have spots all over the county that are
Yeah.
trashed.
Well, and at this time, we're not out in the evenings. We're gonna need, in time, this is, you know, a potentially multi-year plan, but the latest we're out is 6 PM on Wednesday to Saturday. So anything in the evening wouldn't result in our response at this time. So in this area that you're describing, you know, geographically, I have an idea where it is, but is there any residents on that road? Or is this just a kind of a bypass road to get you from Route 18 up to Daniels Fire?
It's kind of more the latter. There are residents on the end of Slate Ledge Road up on the other side of the hill by Daniel's Farm, but this section of road, for at least the first half mile to a mile, there's nothing. You go through kind of the marsh of Styles Pond, and then you start going up the hill. There's a couple woodlots that people have maintained little access paths off of to access woodlots, but there are no actual residences on that portion of Slate Ledge Road.
The other way I look at it, not from the fire or EMS side, is with a gate, unless somebody is more or less carpooling every person to go out there and dropping them off at the gate, then potentially they'll give themselves away by parking a car there. And that can start to actually alert the property owners that somebody's out there. Somebody that shouldn't be is out there, and then can more or less affect a police response. Somebody's trespassing out there, especially you throw, you know, something, a posted sign, or people start lining across Route 118, Route 18. Again, are they gonna do that necessarily? No, they might be dropping people from a residence up the road there, but all it takes is one car. You see one car there, and they're kind of notifying police on their own.
Or at least notifying nearby residents who may notice it. Like on Route 18 in that section, there's the gentleman who owns the speedway. And then there's a couple other houses kind of set back off the road, but I don't know if they would necessarily, we can't obviously say, hey, if you would be good vigilant citizens and constantly keep a lookout on that.
You know, whereas,
But they might be apt to notice it and say, hey, that looks odd, let me call someone.
yeah, or if somebody's there, again, trying to tear down the fence.
Brandon, there's three of us, 1, 2, 3, 4 of us, that three of us that border Dennis Smith's land. And he owns 60-something acres down there. And, like I said, it's his land that people are now cutting through to be able to come up through on.
Yeah.
Which they have no right to do, but.
Right.
53 acres.
But if, the point that I'm just seeing it as is if that's the access point, kind of a one way in, one way out, and then you can branch off however you do to have your parties and get-togethers, you're not necessarily gonna see that car. They go a couple hundred yards in and you driving by aren't gonna see them, but if there was a gate, then, again, if they want to park and go for a walk, it kind of changes the perception there a little bit.
Has anybody determined if the town has a legal right to put a gate?
That's what I was just gonna ask, and what are illegal, I mean, if somebody is down in there, it's still a town road.
Because we don't really own that road unless we give it up.
Right.
I mean, we give it up and it goes back to the landowners.
Well,
Who actually has a right to put
They
gates?
can gate.
under state law, the select board has the authority over all roads owned by a town. So we could make that decision in a vacuum if we wanted to. Obviously, that would not be a wise decision. We should be having discussions like this. But the select board under state law has authority over all the roads in its town and its jurisdiction. I believe we have a question in the back.
Because of what you're discussing in that road and all this dumping, would it make sense to put some signage up from the town and also a video camera for a time to be able to capture the people that are dumping couches and, you know, because I walked on Slate Ledge last, I think it was January, in the middle of the day, never been down there, and as soon as I went onto the class 4, someone was right in the woods and gave me a very clear warning shot. And I was very afraid. I should have called the police and I took off running and I haven't gone back, but there's something going on.
So just to clarify, you're saying you were walking, were you, this was,
I think I
were you
started
on, were you
coming
on?
by the pond
Okay,
because it was a flat walk, so I'm always looking for, you know, slow flat walks. I was by myself. And I was like, I wonder how far the class 4 road goes. And I no sooner just got on it and somebody was right there in the woods. And I'm telling you, it was right near me. And I was frightened and I should have.
and they fired a gun.
Oh, for sure. I know a gun.
And this was in the middle of January, not that this is
Middle of
relevant.
the
Were,
day.
were you on snowshoes? Were you on
No,
foot?
I was walking with good, you know, hiking boots.
Okay.
And it was definitely a warning shot. There weren't any other shots and it was right, so close to me. I was just astounded.
To be fair, there are hunters out. Yeah, honey. Same.
Could be.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, I don't know, my only concern, as far as closing the road and, you know, putting a gate up is you do that here and, how many other requests are we gonna get for people wanting road closed because of, issues? And I think the select board has, turned down requests to close roads in the past. I was told Hastings Road, they wanted to close it at one point, and residents wanted to close it, and that request was denied, and maybe Blodgett Farm Road.
It would.
Do they have the same problems?
Well, I was gonna say, this is where, you know, you muddle precedent in the current situation, right? The current situation is that, not for a lack of trying, we don't have round the clock enforcement. So the natural first solution, if we were in, say, a bigger town or a town with a town police force, would be, hey, can we post additional patrols? From what it sounds like, that's not feasible right now. So.
Not with us.
Yeah. So we'd have to explore state police, and their situation is kind of similar to yours in terms of staffing levels. So this may be a situation where we have to think outside the box here.
Kevin?
So, we tried to get High Ridge Road closed, which is on Concord's on the other end, Shadow Lake Road. Back in the 90s, early 90s, because it was horrible. Select board refused. However, because Concord's on the other end, that landowner, Perry and Nancy Lapotin, put a gate up. The select board did not fight it, so therefore, in essence, it's closed from that end, not from our end. Problems stopped immediately.
Which is
so when you don't have travel through, it takes care of the problem. So did Waterford close the road? No, but in essence, it got closed because Concord Select Board allowed it. And in this case, obviously, it's all Waterford land, but I can tell you from our experiences, having a road closed to prevent access from crap is pretty nice.
So what were the issues on that road?
Deer jacking and partying. I mean, that was back when I was dairy farming, and I would pick up, I can remember picking up over 100 cans of beer out of a hayfield one day. And, you know, so, I mean, that was just about 30 years ago.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because if somebody drove down, if it's not closed on the Waterford end, then they still got a lot of land they can.
But once it closed on the other end, so people couldn't pass through, it stopped. I mean, I had people driving through cornfields. And, you know, the Waterford Select Board's historic position is exactly what you're saying. We don't close roads, and I get the fire access and all of that. I mean, I want to be able to have a fire put out, but needs work. So I don't really have a position. All I can tell you is Perry and Nancy and my folks and I tried hard to get it closed. Concord allowed it, Waterford didn't, but I can tell you our problem stopped. So, you know, I want fire access, but I also know what it's like to have your land trashed. So just my FYI, that's all.
Well, thank you for that perspective. That's actually very enlightening in this case. Colin, if in a perfect world where we were able to gate off the Route 18 access to Slate Ledge and then fix whatever this washout is, whether that requires resurfacing or reinstalling culverts that may or may not have been removed. From an access standpoint for the fire department, if a fire were to occur in that spot, do you know if that having access from the Daniels Farm portion of Slate Ledge, if that would drastically increase response time, if that would be unfeasible?
That sounds feasible.
Just from the standpoint of, okay, you have a key to the gate on Route 18, but it might be quicker to just shoot up and over.
No, I take that time to do the key.
Depends on which end it's on.
Yeah. It's where we were last month or a month and a half ago. We would have never gone from the Daniel Farm side. We would have taken a key, we would have opened it up, we would have gone in.
And that's where the trouble is
Yes.
closer to the 18 side.
South Route 18, most of the time.
I'm not opposed to trying it on a temporary basis.
Yeah,
If there's anyone that
mattresses
else.
and junk. Oh, yeah, it's bad.
Okay.
Sue, you were saying?
I'm just saying, I'm not opposed to trying it on a temporary basis. I mean, here it is July. If we went to November, that's 4 months. If we said we're gonna close it temporarily. Jim, how long would it take for us to even get a gate and give out keys and install a gate? I mean, we're talking a month or so before we purchase and install and.
Oh, if we could find a big enough gate, we could install it in a day.
Oh, okay. So if we said, close it on a temporary basis for 3 or 4 months and see if it makes a difference. I'm not opposed to trying, but.
I'm not opposed either. Jim.
Excuse me.
Jim, you said if we could find a gate big enough.
But we have to accommodate fire trucks.
Okay,
Where would we get a gate?
Yeah, I mean.
How wide do you think you would need? Just a number?
Well, really, most we're gonna send out there is probably the forestry truck. I mean, if we need to feed the forestry truck, we're running hose out to it.
If we could get something in there.
You got a 12-footer or something like that.
Yeah, I think 12 would be fine. Absolutely.
Roberta?
No, I know what we discussed with the boat launch issues, that putting a gate up was a lot more complicated than we expected. And I don't know if we're getting into details before the legality and stuff is determined. But also from our boat launch experience and how fabulous the video camera is working down there, might not be smart to maybe try the video camera aspect, since you can do that, especially with the landowner's permission. And try that as a lesser way to start deterrent.
The only question that I have also is, with the town of St. Johnsbury owning property there, would you have to check before you make a decision? Would you probably have to check with them?
You have to get the property.
Because I think that they own that property.
They own it all.
So they own that property.
They own it all up to Dennis Smith, both sides of the road.
Yeah, so they gotta prove it. You guys, I wouldn't think you can just.
I can get that passed.
Well, if we were, you're saying from the standpoint of us putting the gate in on their land, or would we install the gate on the right of way? Because per the town road policy, if that's a class 4 road, we have 24 feet and 9 inches from the center of that road, wherever the center is defined.
But I think that it would just be smart too on the town's part to include the town of St. John.
Yes. As a courtesy, I
Get
agree.
input from them.
I was on the boat launch committee, and the signage helped too. It started to mitigate the problem. And then when they brought the camera in on a trailer, this summer, it's really helped.
Excuse me, sir, your name?
Joe Healing.
Well, I thought, so I just wanted to
Sure.
get it for the.
How do you spell
Thanks,
your
Ron.
last name?
Healy.
Now, this camera at the boat launch, is this owned by the town? Who installed that and who monitors that?
Hydro, the owner of the dam.
Okay, so the landowner.
Big River Hydro.
Okay.
Because it's actually,
Their property.
It's on a trailer and it's up on a boom, really.
It's
It's a
a
live-
town road to the water, but it is the
Yeah.
power line's property.
Okay.
It is the power company's property.
Right.
And then the power line owns the property on the park.
It
And
actually has a lot.
and putting in a gate, I don't know if it would be different there, but goodness, they were like, it's gonna be, $900,000, because you have to do an archaeological study and environmental assessment, and they listed a million things. I don't know if they were just listing things that got in the way for no reason, or if they were being honest, but putting in a gate after the power line to leave access to the vast trail and just stop it down there, they're like, this is $1 million project.
The camera has a live feed
Oh,
to their New
yeah.
Hampshire office too. And they can talk, it has amplification. So they could say, hey, stop that, and the people,
When does it come up that road, they just probably look at the camera and shoot.
Yeah.
well.
No, they have to have that smart.
yeah, but it would have them on
They
camera.
would be on camera.
I've been down there because I go to the meetings for the,
Oh, great.
but I imagine that setup is fairly pricey, just the cameras.
Oh, yeah, let's see.
I could check with the guy from Great
The
River Hydro.
remember, Ron, we had talked about just having a motion detector camera, not that big setup that they have. And I know when I've had property line issues in the past, select board members have encouraged me to allow them to put cameras on my property to surveil my neighbors, which I did not agree to, but they assured me that they had the legal ability to do so.
Well, even just the simplicity, the thought crossed my mind, as I was walking out there this morning with a trail camera, like a simple hunting
Yeah.
game
Yeah,
camera
game cam.
that's motion detected, and you can buy ones for,
Thing on your camera, on your phone.
yeah, exactly, you can see it on your phone,
Yeah.
it uploads to the cloud, you can do photo, video, depending on which one you buy. I've only used game cameras from one company, but you can buy like monthly, yearly subscriptions to
You
get like
buy,
full
like,
HD video, and it's
3 or
pretty
4
good.
of them for a couple $100.
Yeah.
So what would the board like to do? We gotta move on. I guess I made it clear, I'm not in favor of dates.
So would you like to try signage and camera? See how that goes as a first step?
What's the sign?
Okay, what was the signage at the boat launch, Roberta?
You're on camera.
Oh, you're on camera.
There's a, we
Before that,
started
we
with
had-
that
One at a time,
last summer. And before we had a camera, we put a sign up, or Hydro put a sign up saying live feed camera. And then another sign that said, this is your boat launch, protect it, it's public land, you know, to encourage people to do the right thing.
In our case, I would think we'd rather not have signage. I would think we'd want people to not know they're
Element of
there.
surprise.
I don't know, that's just my thoughts.
Well, because if we put trail cameras up, they'd have to be mounted to something which we need landowner permission for, which is the town of St. Johnsbury. So,
Well, you probably would have to have it within the right of way anyways, because you can't go out very far outside the right of way, and you aren't gonna get a picture of anything. Dale?
I don't climb trees anymore, but I'll climb a tree so you can put a camera on it facing down. So you can get people coming in. And then on the other side, get them coming out, you can see if they had a load on their rig and if they're empty on the way out. I mean, they're lugging mattresses and chairs and couches and because it costs so much to get rid of them. That's why they're doing it. And it's the low lights that are doing it. So if you just put cameras up in a tree, just them Norway spruce right there. So you do a little few of them up, get access right there, and you're good to go. I'd go with the cameras. I'm dead serious about that. Anyone interfere with Caledonia County Sheriff or want to interfere with the fire department?
Just who's
That would
gonna-
be the best scenario to do right now. And then we can table this.
If you shoot a big buck out there this fall, I'll know why.
do we have a hand in the back?
No, all I'm now saying, I agree with the cameras, but don't they take a considerable amount of time to, who's gonna take the time to review that? Really? It comes to your phone right away?
No, yeah.
Can you say that louder, Wade?
So it'll go to whoever's phone, but that, all that's discoverable. So if we charge, that phone then would be turned over most likely. So unless we're gonna buy a phone to do it too. A phone, a camera.
But do you need a sign to back up that what they're doing is illegal? So that they were warned, if you proceed down this road and dump, you will be.
If they're dumping, it's.
You don't need it, but you put a sign up that says under surveillance.
Okay, if you want me to talk, you're gonna have to stop a minute so I can address the other people. If someone is illegally dumping, it doesn't matter, they can be charged. So, and I was down there, I think Will went down there, you said, and Ron went down there. There's no more, it doesn't look like there's any more new stuff down there in the last couple of days. But I don't know if it's just because they can't get through there, I don't know. But a camera, I would go with a camera, it's just, where are we gonna store the data?
Yeah.
I think the board would, I saw that here, I think the board needs to decide if they wanna do a camera, then they need to figure out what the cost is and see if it's in the budget before you decide to do anything.
Now, if the camera, some of these game camera systems, if we stick with the game camera, they send stuff to a cloud storage. Would that change the discoverable nature of a phone? Like if someone can access, okay, so anyone who has that account, because oftentimes they're associated with a digital account. Anyone who has access to that account. Okay.
But you wouldn't get live data.
No.
I get both with my game cameras. I get notifications on my phone and I have a memory card in there.
Yes, and I can also, but I can log in on my computer and look at the feed without having to use the SD card.
Howard?
My name's Howard Jones. Is people dumping stuff in the town right away? Or are they dumping it on people's property?
That's a good question. It's close. I don't know if that's within the 25 or 24-foot-9.
I would guess it is some that's probably within.
If it's dumping on people's property, there should be the ones that have cameras and taking care of their property just like you or I would for our own property at our house. If we wanted cameras, surveillance cameras type deal. Do I make any sense?
Yeah. Maybe we ought to just look into this a little further and make, to see these dump sites, whose property it's on, whether it's the town of St. Gay or within our right of way. And as Marcel suggested, see what the cost of the cameras and
potentially the gate, just so we have that number. Sorry.
and potentially the gate. Has anybody?
I've got a question out here.
Yes, sir.
So, and maybe it's been said, and sorry if I'm not keeping up with the times here.
It's a little chaotic, so that's understandable here.
Is the goal to just keep out these partiers, trash throwers, or is it to keep out everyone? Like, is it, you're kind of picking and choosing who can go, or is it, we want nobody down there, period?
I think I could be wrong, but I think it's to keep out, not keep out, but to try to stop the party, not stop them from going, but,
Is there any use to the public going down there outside of folks that own property on it?
No.
Not really.
People walk out there sometimes.
Yeah, walking, hiking up through, or, I don't know.
The point I was gonna make was, the point I was gonna make was, at that point, if you don't want anybody down there, simple, no trespassing unless permission posted at each end is fine. The camera is also a great idea, however, not everybody that's gonna be trashing the place is gonna be walking in with a mattress. So you're gonna have to monitor. It might just be that average person walking down there. But what about the ones that have a backpack or whatever else? And then the other 6 that have a backpack, but actually they're headed to a party. You're gonna have to cycle through all the obviously the big things you're gonna be able to see on the camera. They're driving in a truck with, full of trash, or somebody's got a big trash bag on their shoulder. But not every high school, college kid that wants to party is going in there with bags of trash or big blocks of firewood and pallets. They're going in, they're gonna make their little fire pit with their little stash that they need to have fun for the night.
Well, and you could frankly take a 2-wheel drive car through there if you wanted to. Like, the road isn't impassable by any means, that section of it, not